All right, so now we are recording. So once again, we are live. Travis Flaherty, Debt Ambassador here. And the topic of the day is black gold licenses. And so as you guys know, these were, people were very excited about these licenses today. And we only have 15,000 of them. There's a huge demand for those that maybe didn't get in on black gold initially, the first round before they sold out, or just being able to create an affordable way for the average person to be able to get started into mining and mining one of our most popular projects, right? Our proof of concept project, Black Gold. For those of you that are brand new to the group, welcome to the group. We're adding, I don't know, 50 to 100 new people every single day. So if you're brand new here, welcome. A lot of great information that's here. If you look right up at the top here in our info group, you'll see under featured section, there's a lot of great information. There's a welcome post right up there that you can get started and start reviewing the different, just different information, different presentations about what we do here. And of course, as always, we encourage you to get back to the person that added you to the group once you have questions, and they can certainly help you to make a well-informed decision. So with that being said, Black Gold. So we were anticipating the licenses going live today about 3 or 4 o'clock. I think on the update call this morning, Joe mentioned that they would show up around 3 o'clock or 4 o'clock, I think Mountain Standard Time, Utah time. And so, you know, right about that time, or maybe about 10, 15 minutes before, there was this mad rush, you know, to the point where we had about 50,000 initially unique users that were visiting the website all at one time. And then what happened was, I think that people realized they couldn't get out on one device, so they started trying on multiple devices. And so at one point it went up to over 100,000 different people that were trying to log in at the same time. And so ultimately what that did is it put a tremendous amount of pressure on the websites to the point where it crashed our server. And so as you guys have seen, the server is back up right now. But what's going on right now behind the scenes, and you know, as I was talking about this a little earlier, one of the things that I love about Joe Martinez, the founder of IX Global, is he's absolutely committed to ensuring that there is a fair process so that everyone has an opportunity to be able to get these licenses. And so with that being said, he's working on right now a solution. Their team is working around the clock. These guys are not going to probably sleep tonight, so that we can create an opportunity for everybody to come in without crashing the site. Because the minute that he drops these black gold rentals into the back office, it's going to be kind of a free-for-all, and we run the risk of, again, crashing the site. And so they're working on that solution now. I want you to know that, you know, for those of you that are logging in every few minutes feeling like you missed out, don't worry. There's still going to be an opportunity to get these rentals in your hand, and we're going to be releasing that information soon. I just got a message from Joe, so we'll check that here before we wrap up today's call and see if we've got some updates here. So anyways, just know that most likely we'll have an update in the morning going out to everyone on that process and what that's going to look like. It may look very similar to the new wiring process that we've just recently introduced, where you now can request to be able to purchase your license through this new system that we've created, and then they will manually process. So that is something that we are looking at, as well as a few other opportunities. So pretty exciting right now to have one of the hottest products in the entire cryptocurrency space, isn't it? You guys you gotta admit, you can feel the burn, and I think that's an appropriate thing to say here within our ecosystem. The amount of people that are coming to this ecosystem, to IX Global, to the DebtBox, is unparalleled to anything that I've experienced before. And I got to tell you, it is absolutely a lot of fun. So with that being said, just know that the Black Gold licenses, the rentals, we are still going to be rolling them out. We want to do it in a fair way. We also want to make sure that we don't crash our system and put a tremendous amount of pressure on the back office with everybody trying to buy all at the same time. So they're working on those solutions as we speak. And I anticipate that most likely in the morning, you guys will be able to get some updates on that. So if you're watching over at YouTube as well, we'll have some updates tomorrow as well. So just kind of stay plugged into your leaders, to the people that introduced you to this, to our info groups, and we'll be getting more information out to you soon. So with that, you didn't miss out on anything. I know that I've been getting texts literally like every couple of minutes, and people are like, I've been checking the back office. I've been checking the back office. So anyhow, there you go. Isn't that right, Laron? Good stuff, right? So anyhow, let's talk a little bit about, and then Nat G. So with regards to the updates that went on today, they there were some of the SKUs that actually got removed out of the back office. And one of those SKUs happened to be the repeat purchase of NatG. So I know that there's several of you that are wanting to get your hands on another NatG license. A lot of excitement in that project. I received some news today, and I'm not allowed to share it. It's so hard for me because if you guys know, I'm like the worst person in the world when it comes to secrets. Like in my family, if I have a secret, it's done. Like we'll be planning a surprise party for my wife, and I will literally text my wife about the whole surprise party. I can never keep secrets. So, but this one, here's what I can tell you is that there's going to be some really exciting news that comes out that's centered around a couple of our projects at the end of this week, and it's pretty cool stuff. So you'll be able to see that and hear that and witness how that impacts the community here in the coming days ahead. So look for some exciting news towards the end of the week coming out from DebtBox in relationship to Black Gold, in relationship to NatG, and those particular projects. So good stuff. So look for those. By the way, those SKUs will be added before the end of the night. So for those of you that are wanting to buy, the way our system works, just so you guys know, the system was not designed initially for nodes. The partnership with the DebtBox came after the fact. And so the system, the way that it works is when you go in and buy one of the products, when you buy one of the, let's say, NatG licenses, it actually removes that particular SKU because it's assuming that you now have that particular quote unquote product membership. So what we've done is we've added a second order for NatG in the past, or a third order, or you can buy 3 or 4 or 5 nodes. So that second order was removed, and I know that the team is working on getting that back into the back office tonight. So I know there's like 3 or 4 people that were looking to be able to purchase some of those NatG licenses. And by the way, I got to tell you, I'm a big fan of NatG, natural gas. I own 10 of those licenses. It was the foundation of where I started with this project, and couldn't be more excited with where that project is going as a whole. And some of the things that are going to come here in the future. You guys realize that NatG, we have more natural gas in inventory than any other commodity-backed project that we have to date out and that's available. So the tokenomics are the exact same as Black Gold. We have more supply by dollar amount than any other project. So some could even argue that the only difference really is about 10 or 11 months. That's about it when it comes to both of those projects. So of course, we always have to throw out the disclaimers. Past performance doesn't guarantee future results. There's risk getting involved with cryptocurrency. So of course, do your due diligence, which we're going to be talking about here tonight, and invest wisely. So with that, I want to talk a little bit about just some things that, when you're evaluating a mining project, what are the things that you look for? Like, how do you know something is real? Because let's face it, I mean, we probably all, for those of us that are veterans in the industry, we've probably been involved with projects that we thought were solid. And for whatever reason, it didn't turn out the way that we had hoped. I know that I got burned about 5 or 6 years ago on a mining project. And I learned a lot from it. So I want to give you a list of things to really kind of look at when you're looking at DebtBox, when you're looking at our projects. These are some of the things that you might want to consider as you are arriving at a decision to ultimately buy these nodes or not buy these nodes. So I'm going to give you a list. And if somebody wants to write them into the chat here one by one, that would be awesome as well. But here's some of the things that I look for. So one of the first things is there individual licenses that are truly being assigned? Are there licenses that are truly being assigned as opposed to they're just saying that they're mining, but there's not really any evidence of that mining happening? And so what I want to do is I want to just take you over to the debtbox.com. And what I'm going to do is I'm going to log in here to my back office, and I'm going to click on these licenses here. And I want you to see that each one of these licenses has their own individual identification code, right? This license digital code. And this is what allows us to be able to convert these nodes to NFTs after the projects sell out. One of the awesome parts about our project is once these licenses do sell out, there is a limited supply on licenses. I'll give you an example. Black Gold had 50,000 licenses. It's sold out. NatG has 100,000 licenses, more volume, right? We're about 55-60% sold out on that project. So when they sell out, they become an NFT. What's an NFT? Essentially, it's digital real estate. What allows it to be digital real estate? The fact that you have your own unique identification, your digital ID here, and that turns it into or converts it to a non-fungible token. So when I'm looking at these different projects, one of the first things that I want to see is, can I see that I actually have a true node that is assigned to me, or is it some type of pooled mining or spreadsheet mining where, you know, they're saying that they're pulling all of the resources together and they're just tracking everything on a spreadsheet, and they're essentially just paying out based on what they think that you should earn, but there's no real transparency on what that node is actually paying. So one of the cool things that we have here, and one of the things that I would encourage you to look at is, look at the contract ID. Does it physically, is it on the blockchain, first of all? Is the license actually on the blockchain? You can go look up our licenses, they're on the blockchain. And one of the things that I would look at is, look at your contract ID and look, is it doing payouts every single day, right? Because for me, I think it's a red flag when they're doing manual transactions. You have a lot of these programs that are out there that, again, these spreadsheet type of mining programs where they say they're mining, but how do you really know? I mean, how do you know they're not just taking the money that's coming in from the new people that are enrolling based around the hype or the excitement, and they're paying based on that new money coming in the door, right? Well, there's a word for that. It's called a Ponzi scheme. So look and make sure that there's not a manual transaction. It's not spreadsheet, you know, that it's not a spreadsheet mining type of program. So that's number one. Okay, number two, the second thing that I would look at is, go look at the EGI wallet. Okay, when it comes to an ecosystem, it's usually the largest pool that the company has. So look at the EGI wallet. You can look this up on the blockchain. And by the way, EGI stands for Ecosystem Growth Initiative. Mining EGI wallet is another word for it, or the largest pool. Everybody has different names. But with us, it's called the Ecosystem Growth Initiative. And with that, in that mining wallet, you want to see that there are tokens actually paying out. You want to see that there is a large number of money that's actually being paid out. That's something that you want to look for, and that's very important. Some of these projects, you don't have that. You don't see that. You don't have that transparency. So that would be the second thing. So look at the EGI wallet. The third thing that I would look at is, I would look for liquidity. This is so important. Look for liquidity. There's so many projects that people, I know friends that are maybe even in this group, that they're involved with projects and they're holding tokens, they're holding coins, and they have no ability to be able to go and sell those coins. And that is a huge, huge, huge red flag for me. Look for liquidity. Every one of our projects has full liquidity. You can go and cash out at 1 o'clock in the morning, 5 o'clock in the morning, doesn't matter what time you decide that you want to go cash out, you can do that. And by the way, I am working on a video right now that is going to take a token from, let's say, NatG, and I'm going to take it all the way into, swap it into the app and swap it over into one of our debt coins. And then from there, what I'm going to do is I'm going to take it to an exchange. And then from there, what I'm going to do is I'm going to exchange it to Tether. And then from there, what I'm going to do is I'm going to take it on to an exchange, a major exchange like Binance, and ultimately withdraw that money into my account. And I'm going to do a video of that so that we have that collateral so that you can see what that process looks like. Because at some point, you might be holding right now, you're going to want to know how to do that. So that's something that we're currently working on right now. So that's something that we'll be releasing in the near future. But is there liquidity, right? That's such a huge, huge factor here. Another thing is, are they trading on an exchange? Are they actually trading on an exchange? You know, so many projects, we've talked about this in a lot of our presentations. They talk about, you know, what they're going to do. We're going to be on this exchange. We're going to be. Well, you have maybe 90 days of breathing room from a time that a project launches. Hey, Carrie, how are you today? There's about 90 days of breathing room from the time that a project first comes out. And then after that, there's a problem, right? After that, it needs to go live. So some of you guys that were maybe with NatG, so NatG came out, and we told everybody that it would be about 60 days before we hit the first exchange with NatG, right? So during that time, there was an accumulation of coin tokens, but there was we weren't able to cash out, right? We were on in about 45 days. The most recent projects that we just introduced, Aluminum, Explorer, you know, we were on an exchange in less than 30 days. So if there are delays in hitting an exchange and you're now going beyond 90 days, guys, that's a huge red flag. So the other thing that I like to do, and I did this here as well, is I like to talk to node holders, people that are already in the node. You want to talk to people that are in the node, right? And just see, like, how's it going for them? Because if you talk to people and they say, yeah, I haven't been able to cash out, there's no liquidity, or we're waiting for them to do this and to do this and to do this, it's going to let you know right up front. One of the cool things that I enjoy about this group is we have people that have migrated into our community here that have been involved in Black Gold all the way back to November of last year. And so they'll tell you, and they're telling you what a blessing it's been in their life, right? So we have that real world proof that this is real, that this is valid. So talk to node holders. That's something that I did. Get that firsthand experience about what is actually happening. Here's another thing that you can do. Dip your toe in the water. Dip your toe in the water. You don't have to start with, $100,000 in nodes whatever your investment is. You don't have to start there. You can start wherever you want. If you want to start with one node, go ahead, start with one node and go through the process of withdrawing it. See that there's full liquidity if that's something that you want to do, right? So dip your toe in the water. A good dip your toe in the water, type of maybe balanced collection of licenses. Maybe go get like 5 NatG, 5 aluminum, and 5 Explorer. That's a good dip your toe in the water starting point, don't you think, Deborah? Don't you guys think, Carrie? No, I'm just teasing you guys. Dip your toe in the water a little bit, right? So that's something that you can do. Another thing is code audits. Code audits. So code audits has your token actually, is your project, your token actually been audited? And I'm seeing somebody saying, did it freeze? Can you guys see me okay? It looks fine on my end. I can see it here. So Rachel, that may be your internet, but somebody let me know if I'm frozen. So does the project has it been audited? So just so you guys know, our projects, really all of them have been audited, but we started with debt. And really because of the Binance Smart Chain, and we're tied to Binance because we use the Binance blockchain, we have to go through a BSC scan is what it's called. All of our projects do. So all of our tokens have been through that BSC scan, but some people say, well, look, is there an independent audit? Is there an actual independent audit? So just so you guys know, independent audits are very expensive. They're very time consuming. And we actually have an independent audit for our utility token, which is debt. It was done by CredX. And that means that they've come in and they've audited everything. They've looked at the liquidity. They've looked and said, are you doing what you say you're doing? Is this real? And we're actually, in the coming days, not weeks, but coming days, you will actually see that audit go onto the DebtBox website so that you'll have full access to that as well. So that's just another thing that you can look at has there been an audit? Wait a couple days. You're going to see some really cool things that are happening where we introduce our XNode wallet, which is going to be really cool. It's going to be introduced for all of us, all of our IX members that you'll have access to. That's going to make things really, really fun to be able to swap and go through all the way to dropping money into your accounts and making things a lot easier. So that's going to be something that's going to be coming up in a couple of days. Here's another one for you is look for, is there a face behind the company? One of the first things that I did, and it's available here for you if you're evaluating us and looking at this project, is I interviewed the owner. I wanted to know that there was somebody that was responsible for that was behind the scenes, that was assuming responsibility for this. And one of the biggest red flags for me is when you can't figure out who is even behind a project, right? So I interviewed Jason, and Jason, that interview is right here in our featured section in this group. If you haven't watched it, it's in our welcome post. You can go down, I think it's the second or the third link. You can watch that interview with Jason and see for yourself and listen to him. And, for me, when I started out looking at buying some of these nodes, that was very important for me. And I have to tell you that Zoom that I did when I interviewed him was kind of the deciding factor for me purchasing those first 10 NatG licenses. So those are just some of the things that you want to look for. Exchanges, right? Are they Are they on exchanges? How many exchanges are they on? You know, the more exchanges that you get on, it's a process. Like it is a process that they put you, they look through background checks, all these different things. And so the fact that we've been added to 6 different exchanges in the last 5 or 6 weeks is huge. That's a huge credibility piece here. So we've got the liquidity. We're on the blockchain, right? You can go look at our EGI pool and see that there's payouts that are happening. We've got we're on all of these different exchanges. So for me, that is the difference between substance and hype. And I got to tell you, there's a lot of hype that's out there. And one of the most refreshing things about being a part of this ecosystem is I'm really excited about bringing validity and tangibility to the cryptocurrency space. And what we are doing here at Debt is really raising the bar in the cryptocurrency space. We're setting a precedence that says, look, you know, here's the standard, and we're taking the standard from here to here, and others are going to follow suit. And that's something that's really exciting to me. So those are just some things that you might want to look for when it comes to validating a project. And let's talk a little bit about, you know, up and down pressure in different tokens. So a lot of people say to me, what's going on with NatG today? How come it's down? You know, it's lost like 30% of its value since last week. Guys, what you need to do is you first of all need to zoom out a little bit, right? If you go look at Bitcoin and you look at small little sections, like if you look at the last 6 months, you would say, who in the world would ever want to put their money into Bitcoin? But if you zoom out a little bit, then you say, wow, you know, look at this. The low today, right now, it's sitting at about 24,000. And it wasn't too long ago that it was at 3,000, right? But along the way, there have been days where, you know, Bitcoin has lost 90% of its value. Why? What's happening behind the scenes? There's all kinds of different variables, but a lot of the downward pressure comes from, we call them paper hands, right? So paper hands are people that anytime that there's a little bit of fluctuation, they get nervous and they sell. Diamond hands, on the other hand, you know, anybody heard that term, diamond hands? So that's the paper hands are an investor that sells at the first sign of trouble, right? But if you have diamond hands, it means that you're the type of investor who's not going to panic and sell off your holdings during you know, fluctuation. I'm going to let you guys in on a little secret. The fluctuation is a great thing, right? The fluctuation is a great thing. Dips, up and downs, that's what makes this so special, so exciting. Those swings are why we're here. Otherwise, we just go be playing the stock market and hope for, you know, putting a little bit of money, dollar cost averaging over the next 40 years and forget about that huge upside potential, right? That this industry provides. But how can you get that true upside potential and hedge or minimize the risk? Well, for me, it's having real world value backed by high demand commodities. Go look at the demand for aluminum right now. Tell me what it's doing over the last 10 years. Tell me what it's projected to do over the next 15 years. Tell me about the demand for natural gas right now. What's it doing? So to me, it's giving me an opportunity to put my capital to work and put my capital, my money in stored value. Let me tell you something. Real assets, true assets should not lose nearly 90% of their value over a 50-year period. The dollar has lost almost 90% of its value in the last 50 years. True assets, that should not happen. So again, what you see is you'll see sometimes, you know, a token that hits a new high. NatG did that as we started to do some burns recently. It hit a new high. And a lot of people that were involved in the beginning stages, remember, NatG started out at 0.000001, 5 zeros and a 1. Today it's 3 zeros and, you know, a 5 or a 6. So a lot of people that have been here since the early stages that are sitting on a lot of tokens because they got involved during the accumulation phase, some of those people go, you know, I'm going to take some of the money off of the top. I'm going to take some of the money that I originally put in and pulled it back out. Not a bad idea, right? It's not, I mean, you know, now you're whole, right? So some of those people have been doing that. Some people are taking and cashing out because they want to repurchase, all right? They want to compound. They get in on some of the newer projects that are aluminum and some of those other projects. And so what's going to happen is you'll see this downward pressure that starts to happen. And then eventually, you know, the people that are either liquidating or the paper hands, right? They tend to, they kind of get out of the market. And then all of a sudden we start to see it go back up again. What's really cool about NatG, and again, I'm just using NatG as an example. This could apply to any one of our projects, but what's really neat about NatG is it launched on May 1st at 5 zeros and a 1. Today it's 3 zeros and 0.6. But it wasn't too long ago that it was 3 zeros and 0.3, 0.4. So what's happening is it'll go up and then it'll kind of come down, and then you'll hit a new kind of baseline, right? Well, I always tell people when you're looking at Bitcoin, and I always use Bitcoin as an example, the prime example, right? It's not so much the highs you want to look at, it's the lows. Because if you look historically over the last 11, 12 years at the lows in Bitcoin, the lows have continued to do this, right? And it's establishing a new baseline along the way. The new baseline this last go around was about 20,000, kind of went down to 18, and now it's back up to 24. So I remember not too long ago, it was like 3 or 4 years ago, where people would have been praying for Bitcoin to hit 20,000. So what you're seeing is that baseline continue to get moved. And so, when you see weeks where there's red, just know that's not a bad thing. That's a good thing, right? The dip is actually a very healthy part of the tokenomics and what's going on in our ecosystem. And because what's happening is more and more people are liquidating, what are they doing? They're transacting. Well, what happens when they're transacting? Money's going to the burn wallet, right? So the tokenomics kick in, those deflationary mechanisms kick in. And ultimately, what does that eventually lead to? It leads to that baseline continuing to move. So just know that's what's going on. So, I anytime that we see some movement, I always get people texting me going, hey man, what's going on? That's what's going on. It's the ebb and flow of the market, the ebb and flow of the project. But I could also tell you that there's probably some pretty good news that's coming out in the next week. And that good news, historically speaking, has had a pretty positive impact on some of these projects, right? So it's just give and take. And I'm here for the long haul, you guys. Like I'm here, I'm not here looking for that pump over just the short little pump here that goes up just a little. I'm here because I believe in this project and I believe in where the potential of where these things could go. And I'm excited about that potential. That excites me. That's why I'm in cryptocurrency. Otherwise, I'd be somewhere else, right? So just wanted to kind of share that perspective a little bit with you guys. And hopefully that provides a little bit of just understanding. So what's good? What's good in the ecosystem right now? So NatG is definitely probably our most popular project right now. When I stood on that oil well in Nebraska, and I heard those engineers talk about the amount of NatG that was in that project, and they were talking about how in the coming days ahead, they were going to be able to validate a few things with regards to that project that could be really, really good for the whole ecosystem. Hint, hint. And and he told me how much money that we had just in that one site in natural gas, $1.7 trillion. And it just blew my mind. So I really like natural gas. I think it's a great project. The fact that they're retailing those licenses right now for about $50,000 over at debt, and you can get them for $4,500 right now, guys. That's a steal. That's a steal. I remember I was having a conversation with Jason not too long ago, and I was talking to him about strategy and this and that, and he just said to me, he says, Travis, you don't know what you have your hands on, but in 6 months you'll have an idea. 6 months from now you'll start to get an idea of what you truly have in your hands. And then he said, in a year, you're going to ask me why you didn't buy more licenses. That's what he told me. And I believe him. I absolutely believe him. So I like NatG. I think that's a great project at 4,500. It won't be there long. As we continue to sell these licenses, you're going to continue to see that price point inch up and inch up and inch up. So that's a great buy right now. I like aluminum and I like Explorer a lot. Those are newer projects. We just hit the exchanges about 4 weeks ago. You have an opportunity to take advantage of kind of that promotional entry-level pricing. I can tell you that a lot of what those guys are doing, when they first come out, they buy up, at those licenses at those lower price points. They take advantage of those price points and stock up on the licenses. And over time, as the projects start to mature and the tokenomics start to kick in, those licenses will go up, and you'll see at a certain point where aluminum will be selling for $3,000 or $4,000 a license. So take advantage of that right now. I have 6 aluminums right now. I'm getting ready to buy another 4 so that I get it up to 10. My goal is to accumulate 100 licenses by the end of the year. So I'm just slowly collecting licenses. Whatever your goal is, great. If you can do one, whatever works for your current situation. But for me, I'm really excited about just being a part of this community, and I really believe in it, and I believe in where they're going. And so my goal is, and I'm stocking up on aluminum, and then I'm going to start working on my Explorer. Why? Because aluminum's at 1,500, Explorer's at 1,250. I expect that aluminum, the next, we'll see it jump up to about 2,000, and we might see Explorer go up to that 1,500. So I'm thinking that I might have a little more time to stock up on those Explorers, but I want to pick up some more aluminums right now. And I love the fact that we're already mining. We're already partnered with one of the largest aluminum companies in the world, and the tokenomics are going to kick in pretty quickly with that project. Hey, by the way, did you guys see what Grow's doing today? Up 34%. So Grow's starting to kind of kick in a little bit. It's an exciting project too. Especially if you like projects that are backed by high demand, high yielding agriculture. That's a cool project. Deals with, and there's some carbon credits that are part of that project as well. I like Explorer. I think Explorer is just a cool story. I think that as the press and the media, as you guys over the next 3 to 6 months, you're going to see DebtBox in the media, and you're going to see these stories getting out there. You're going to see DebtBox on Forbes. You're going to see DebtBox on a lot of these different places. In fact, some of those things are already underway. And as that happens and people start catching wind of the first cryptocurrency that's backed by a satellite in space, I can see that project just zooming and taking off. The sky is the limit, no pun intended, right? And so I like that project because it supports, that's the scan technology. That's the one that supports everything that we do. And it's really one of the key unique selling propositions that we have in the marketplace, right? Is the fact that we have this proprietary technology that scans the earth and can identify these commodities at a level that nobody else can. And that's the reason why we're able to do what we can do. So I like those projects right now. And if you haven't had a chance to pick up some of those licenses, I think that's a great opportunity. And then of course, as we move into the next, into the fall, who knows, we could see some new licenses coming up into the Halloween timeframes and around there. So you never know what these guys are going to be coming out with next. So anyhow, I appreciate you guys watching. To recap, Black Gold Updates, rentals, just as an update, they are working as we speak right now on a solution. They want it to be a fair solution. So expect to see some news on that in the morning. We apologize that it had to be postponed for a day. I know everybody's super excited, but good things come to those that wait. And we are definitely going to deliver on that promise to get these NatG rentals out. So just stay tuned. Joe, I did do an update also on the NatG SKUs that are going into the back office. The reorder for NatG will be hopefully in there by the end of the night. I was told that it'll be in there within the next hour. So double check that. You guys should see that. I know there was a few others that were looking to pick up some NatG licenses. So you will see that as well. And hopefully, just talking today about how do you evaluate these projects? What are the things that you look for? Hopefully it gives you a little bit of confidence and an understanding of what separates us from anybody else that's out there in this space. There's nobody that's doing anything like we're doing. There's no, I've heard of projects. Oh yeah, I've heard about this project backed by gold, but you go look at it, the gold is still in the ground. It's not extracted yet. So it's not really backed by gold in the ground, because a lot of times it doesn't make sense to pull the gold out of the ground because it's too expensive, which is why it's still there. So the fact that we have gold sitting in a vault is quite different, right? The fact that, we're bringing you live videos from some of the largest rigs in the country showing you oil in the actual ground. Nobody else is doing anything like that. We're 4 weeks away, 5 weeks away from going to Ghana, and I cannot wait to bring some more footage to each and every one of you guys and show you, more of our sites and more of our partners that are over there in Ghana. Go to the aluminum site and be able to show you firsthand. That is the difference, right? It's the difference between hype and substance, speculation versus tangibility. So with that, guys, I am wrapping it up for the day. I really appreciate you guys tuning in. We'll give some updates tomorrow in our business info group. We'll be releasing more details about NatG. You can go to bed and rest easy and know that those rentals, we are going to create a fair way for everybody to be able to get their hands on those. And you can expect some more information tomorrow. So with that, thanks so much for tuning in. You guys have a wonderful evening. God bless.